All right, so here's part 2 of what I decided to call just the secret of life. As last time we talked about how we just tend to have expectations, and God tends to meet our expectations in different ways than what we expected. And the struggle of everyone is trusting God when He doesn't meet it in our time. When we have those times in our life when it feels like it's too late, or God hasn't answered in the timely fashion that we needed Him to answer, or in the way that we expected, and we think it's too late, and trusting Him in those moments. And so we declared that the secret of life is having God's mind in us, and taking all of our thoughts and filtering them through Christ. And as I was praying, what would be the next message for you, Mom? I feel like God just kind of gave me a part 2 to the secret of life, and how we trust God in these moments. In these moments that our expectations can sometimes be shaken, and we could feel off balance, and we could feel like, screaming and saying, God, what are you doing? So the verse is in Psalm 62, and starting in verse 5, it says, "For God alone, O my soul, waits in silence, for my hope is from Him. He only is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall not be shaken. On God rests my salvation and my glory, my mighty rock, my refuge is God. Trust in Him at all times, O people. Pour out your heart before Him. God is a refuge for us." Man, what a mighty word. What a mighty word that we need more than ever. Not just for what we're going through today, but for every day. The secret of life, trusting God at all times, even when it's hard. And the part that just really stood out to me is in verses 5 and 6 in this passage. It says, "For God alone." In verse 6 it says, "He only." In verse 5 it says, "My soul waits in silence." For God alone, my soul waits in silence. Verse 6, "He only is my rock and my salvation." That our hope is only in God. Our waiting is only for God. Like, He is the one that we lean on. Man, how tempted do we get all the time to run to the gifts that God has put in our life instead of God. I get so thankful to Katie when she doesn't try to answer my problems for me, but points me to the one who can answer my problems. Because that at the end of the day, Katie was not designed to put my mind at ease for my situation. She was designed to be a helpmate, and designed and purposed to point me back to Christ. As I was not designed to carry and be a God to Katie, I was designed to point her to Christ, the one who can carry all her problems. God alone, God singular, can do everything for us. God alone is the one who is our peace. God alone is the one who is our help. We can't be putting our trust and our hope in our spouses and our kids and our friends and the people around us, our pastors and all these gifts around us. No, these things, these people that God has put in our lives are great when we use them right. But when they become our God, when they become our hope, and when they let us down, then what? No, I say we skip that and go always to the one who will never let us down, to the one who will never fail us, to the King of Kings, the one who says that this earth is his footstool and everything belongs to him. And it says here that we need to trust in him at all times. In James 5, it says when we pray, we need to have faith in him. It says that the one who doubts he's like a double-minded man who's unstable in all of his ways. I think it's interesting that, when it says that when we doubt, it's telling us that we have our mindset on multiple things instead of having a singular mindset. As in, God is trying to tell us, you want to know how to trust me is that you need to have a singular focus on trusting him as King and trusting him as Lord. I think of Matthew 7. That story where the wise man built his house on the rock. That the rock being singular, the rock being one, the rock representing Christ, the rock representing our God. And it says that, so when the winds came and the trials came and beat against the house, it says that the rock, because the house was founded on the rock, because the man had built his life on the rock, says that it stood. It didn't fall. It withstood the trials. It withstood the pain. And then it contrasts the wise man to a foolish man who builds his house on sand. Sand, once again, we see sand being multiple rocks being small rocks. Not being Christ, but being the things of the world. Whether it be people, stuff, just not God. Putting our hope in so many different things. And it says, so when the trials came and the pain came, it says that it fell. It could not withstand everything that was coming at it. And it says not only did it fall, it says that the fall was great. You just imagine this complete collapse. So I just want to encourage you, Mom, and anyone else who ever sees this, that we as Christians, and we have our hope, and we need to set our mind on the singular our God, who can help us and will help us and is a very present help in our time of need, who can withstand the pain, who can sustain us there in the hard times, and so that when the trials come and the pain comes, that he can help us endure it, so that we don't have to be just stuck in it, but we can see past it, and that we can see that it's doing something so much so that we can actually have peace while we're in the midst of it. So much so that not only can we have peace in the midst of it, that we can actually count it joy. Knowing that God is doing something, and that it's not meaningless, but God is accomplishing something in our lives and in the lives of everyone around us through this trial and through this pain. How amazing is that? What a privilege is that we as Christians get to be a part of what God is doing here on earth. So what is the secret of life? Being of a single mind, being of a single focus. That for God alone, our soul waits. For He only is our rock. For He only is our salvation. And it's Him alone who we will trust. So Father God, I just pray right now that that whoever sees this, it would be a blessing to them, and that they would know that they have a God in heaven who loves them, who's with them in their trial, with them in their pain. And God, I pray especially for my mom that today that she would be an encouragement to whoever she meets, and that she would once again just know that you are a good, good Father, and you are perfect in all of your ways. And God, and that you love her so much. God, so I just thank you for everything that you're doing and everything that you've already done. God, and you are worthy of all your praise. And it's in Jesus' name I pray, amen. So Mom, I just pray that blesses you and lifts up your spirit today. Bye.